Hello everyone. We've got some bubble systems to look at. This was a trend in the early 2000s, no doubt inspired by the iMac, and we have a few such systems here. Got a Compaq Presario 5000, an HP Pavilion 360N, and an HP Pavilion A200N. Alright, let's find out what's hiding under all this translucent plastic and tear into these. Alright, starting with this bubblicious Compaq Presario 5000. I just love the way these things look, with that iMac-esque translucent plastic. Compaq actually intended these translucent panels to be user replaceable. You could swap in different colors more suited to your quirky early 2000s personality. You could even get matching bezels for the keyboard and matching speaker grills. See, strangely enough, we have both a CD-ROM and a CD burner. I'm pretty sure that's not a DVD-ROM, so that's kind of redundant, but I suppose it's convenient if you're copying CDs. And you can see we have a little door here that covers a couple of USB ports. And also hidden behind that, looks like we have some release tabs for the drives here. I believe that's what those are for, but I've never taken one of these machines apart before, so I'm not going to go pulling on it just yet. And this panel here is actually CD storage. Just push that in, and it flips down. And we've got two CD holders down here. Each one of them holds 2 discs, so we should be able to fit 5 CDs in here, because it looks like you can also store a CD here. Let's try it out. Just look at that convenience. They thought of everything. And you can see we're badged as an Intel Pentium 3, designed for Windows 98. And we have a spec sheet on the side here. You can see that Pentium 3 is clocked at 700 MHz, got a whopping 20 gig hard drive. And yeah, we can see that top drive is not a DVD-ROM drive. Interesting. And we got a date on that sticker, May 31st, 2000. And looking at this thing straight on doesn't do much justice for the shape of this thing. The front panel kinda bubbles out, kinda makes it look like it has some pinchable cheeks. The top of the case is missing something here. I'm not quite sure what that does. It's got a little eye icon there. And looking at the other bubble Compaq, we see what's supposed to be there. It's just this gray piece of plastic with a Compaq cue on it. It doesn't feel like it actually does anything. It's just kind of there. There's no way to push it. It doesn't even pull out of there. I don't know. Maybe it does something with the disassembly of the front panel. We shall see. And having a look around the back, we see it's an ATX system. Got our Windows 98 COA sticker there. And we are loaded with onboard peripherals, many of which have very helpful icons that indicate what the ports do. So thoughtful. And for peripheral cards, we have a dial-up modem and a NIC. According to that spec sheet, this is a 56K modem, and this is a 10100 NIC. And to gain access, looks like we have a single screw here. And it looks like this latch moves, pushes down. Guessing that releases the side panel. There is a screw hole on the bottom here, but it doesn't look like it was ever actually used, seeing as that paint's pretty undisturbed. I just love the way these things sit on the desk. That is actually the way it's designed to sit. Both of the rear rubber feet are still present, and the other Presario 5000s I have sit the same way. Alright, let's go ahead and crack this thing open. Man, this thing is dusty. But fortunately, looks like it's complete. Still got the hard drive in there. Looks like one of those rubber bumper Seagates. There hasn't been much air moving through that heatsink in a very long time. God, look at that. It's just completely packed with dust. Let's go ahead and pull that off of there. Not much left of that thermal compound. And as foretold by the spec sheet, there's our Pentium 3. Let's pull that out of there. And yep, 700 MHz, 256K of cache, and 100 MHz front side bus. All good on the pins. Let's leave this out for now. Alright, let's check out our dial-up modem using our T15 Torx driver. And it's got a PC-Tel chipset. Dirty. We can see it's a Compaq original part. Alright, let's check out that NIC. It's got an MPX chipset. Can't say I'm familiar with that one. Got the sticker up here confirming it's a 10100 and also supports WAL. WAL stands for Wake on LAN. Wake on LAN is a method for remotely powering on a computer by sending it what we call a magic packet. As long as the system's plugged in and has a network connection, you can remotely power it on. Also a Compaq original part. And there's our MAC address. And there's our sound chip. Got an ESS Allegro ES1989S. Not the worst chip in the world to have. Alright, let's get all these drives disconnected. Now let's get that hard drive out of there. Looks like this bracket is retained by a single screw. And then we should just fold out. Yeah, there we go. Looks like this is the original drive. 20 gigabyte Seagate. Has the rubber bumper that wraps around the entire drive. Let's go ahead and wipe this thing off. Looks like it was manufactured the 48th week of the year 2000. I just love the way this thing gives you a little DOS tutorial for partitioning and formatting the drive. You just don't see that type of thing anymore. And here's the underside of the drive. Logic board is mostly protected by this rubber bumper. Alright, let's check out our RAM. And as foretold by the build sheet, got a 128 meg PC100 stick here, made by Micron. Got our Compaq sticker there. Backside is minimally dusty. Alright, let's go ahead and get this motherboard out of here, because this case is dusty. Gotta love those zero guesswork front panel connectors. And nothing to do on this board except knock the dust off and replace that battery, using an anti-static brush, of course. And here's a look at that North Bridge, classic Intel 810 chipset. Alright, let's help this poor neglected heatsink. Oh, jeez. What a mess. This thing must have been throwing all kinds of temperature alerts. Now's a good time to check your house's air filter. Alright, that's clean enough. And amazingly, that bearing sounds perfectly fine. Alright, let's clear up that former thermal paste. Alright, that's all cleaned up. Now for heatsinks, I have better luck scraping with the guitar pick. Yeah, there we go. Now let's get some fresh paste on that. Now let's get that thing back on. Alright, now let's figure out how to get these drives out of here. Looks like at minimum the upper section of this translucent plastic has to come off. And this locking tab here seems to be involved with that. So let's unlock that. Hope it doesn't break. Now, looks like we have two finger holes here. Let's see how that goes. Alright, well I got one clip out. Hey, that was actually pretty easy. And nothing broke. That's always a bonus. Alright, that reveals the other side of these drive retaining clips. So, let's try to pull those out. That's pretty stuck. Ooh, got a little bit of corrosion there. We'll try to clean that up later. Alright, how about the floppy drive? Oh, that's easier. So far it's just dusty. Alright, how about the CD burner? Simple enough. Now, finally, there we go. And please excuse the background noise, it's time for our hourly monsoon. But here's our CD-ROM drive, Compaq Original. It is a 40-speed drive, manufactured May 2000. And even though it's branded Compaq, we got a manufacturer code LIT. I'm pretty certain that's short for light on. Alright, let's go ahead and remove these drive rails. Looks like they just sit in there. Yeah, they're just held in with pressure. Now let's wipe this thing off. And the CD burner is also a Compaq Original, manufactured by LG in June 2000. Now let's wipe this thing off. By the way, these microfiber cloths are almost unbeatable for removing dust. I'm continually impressed by how well they work. And the floppy drive is also a Compaq Original. It's an NEC FD1231T. Looks like it was manufactured in May 2000. Now let's dedust that. Got a little bit of oxidation up here, but it's not too bad. Pretty nasty in here. I'm actually gonna have to remove that faceplate. Yeah, that thing's a mess. Let's get that eject button out of there too. Might as well remove the floppy door too. Got some oxide in here too. Hopefully the heads are okay. Speaking of which, well, at least they're clean. Alright, all that plastic cleaned up really well. Now I've taken to cleaning and greasing these drives. Some of them sound pretty terrible. Just add a little dab of white lithium grease. I just put a little on the front of each component, and it'll get distributed by the movement of the heads. Alright, let's go through this power supply. Nothing too special about it, though it does appear to be original to the system. And we can see it ate okay, so we won't have to feed it. Nutrition is very important for a power supply. It is incredibly dusty, so I do want to take it apart and give it a refresh. Yeah, what a mess. Alright, that's clean enough for now. Let's test it. Now, sometimes this glue that they use as celastic on these power supplies is hygroscopic. That means it absorbs moisture from the air and becomes conductive. Now, for obvious reasons, we can't have that, especially in a power supply. So let's go ahead and test it. Alright, we're good there. I'm just going to test a few other spots. Alright, we should be fine. Explosion time? Let's find out. Alright, 12 and 5 volt rails look fine. 5 minutes is up. No trouble at all. Oh, by the way, do you like getting electrocuted? If you're like me, you probably don't. So if you want to avoid that, don't go poking around inside a power supply unless you know exactly what you're doing, because there are several points on a power supply that can give you a pretty good zap, even if the thing has been unplugged for a while. Alright, now it's time to get this case cleaned up, which means I need to figure out how to get this faceplate the rest of the way off. Let's start by removing the CD storage. According to the manual, we just push these in. Wow, that was nerve-wracking. But hey, at least nothing broke. Alright, looks like there are 6 clips holding the faceplate on, but I'm actually gonna put this thing on its back, because the front of the machine rests on the faceplate, and I'm pretty sure that's gonna cause some stress. Now, this faceplate's actually 2 separate pieces, so I have to figure out how to remove the front portion first. Looks like we might be able to get to those clips fairly easily. Okay, well, we're almost there. I just gotta figure out how to get that locking tab out. Okay, looks like I have to separate these 2 halves in situ. Now, can I please just push this thing through? There we go. Wow, that was unnecessarily difficult. Let's get that thing out of there. Good thing I did take it off, though. What a mess. Man, there's just so much plastic in this thing. Felt like I was doing the dishes. But an hour later, everything looks really good. Now I can get started cleaning up that case. Alright, let's start with this dirty old side panel. I'm just gonna hit it with some Windex. Hope that label survives. Yeah, we're off to a great start. Yeah, I'm gonna have to break out the magic eraser for some of this. Alright, well, it didn't turn out too bad at all. We do have some paint chips back here, but not much I can do about that right now. Alright, now with nearly a quarter century of dust removed, let's get this thing back together. Alright, the time has come. Let's see what this thing does. Here we go. Ooh, that hard drive sounds very sick. Oh, I think the hard drive just recovered. And we are posting. Alright, no surprise there. Oh lord, what is this? Is there a CD in there? Yeah, there sure is. Got an original Compaq recovery CD in there. Oh, that's lucky. Let's put that in a safe spot. Okay, well, at least we confirmed that drive works. Alright, let's reboot and see if there's an OS on that hard drive. And there sure is. Got Windows 98 on there. See if it boots. You know, the hard drive was making some sick sounds, but now it sounds perfectly fine. Just love when they come back to life like that. Ooh, we had an improper shutdown at some point. And this is Win9X. We don't need no password. Ooh, that's not good. Guess we're not getting our monitor driver. And apparently we're not getting anything else. Think I figured out why the restore disk was in there. Let's get into DOS mode. Actually, you know what? Let's try safe mode first. Alright, well, safe mode works. Obviously not going to be able to do much in here. Let's see what's on this thing. Wow, Alta Vista. Remember that? Let's see what's in computers and technology. This thing seems pretty unused. Yeah, barely anything on it. Not even any documents. Yeah, there's barely anything on this thing. This looks like just a bunch of default programs. Let's see, Compaq Utilities. Ooh, we better register. It was clearly being used. We got Bell South pop-up catcher on there. That is definitely not pre-installed. Let's see what's Game House. Solitaire? What's wrong with Windows Solitaire? Alright, let's try one more time to boot the OS in normal mode. If that doesn't work, I'll use the restore disk. Nope. Well, let's run ScanDisk on it and see if this drive is even worth restoring. It fixed my free space. Well, at least we have no pre-existing bad sectors. I think we're gonna make it. Yep, that hard drive is good. Alright, let's get this thing restored then. I'm gonna try using the top drive. Since we haven't tested it yet, let's wipe that dust out. Hey, open up. Okay. A little touchy there. Okay, sounds like it spun up. Okay, apparently the CD alone isn't enough to restore this machine, so I guess I'll go try to find the images for the disks I need. And that's a no. I cannot find a restore disk for this exact model. There's a set on archive.org, but not for this model. Okay, well ordinarily I would just do a vanilla install of Windows 98, but I'm exceptionally pressed for time this week due to this being my on-call week at work, which has been particularly eventful. So let's try to test this thing with Knoppix. Alright, looks like it wants to boot. Let's see how far we get. Alright, we made it to the graphical environment. It did take a while though, and clearly this video card has no clue what to do with this monitor. This is the max vertical position adjustment. It's just gonna have to do. Let's open up a terminal. Looks like 640 by 480 is all we're gonna get. Let's see if we at least get 3D acceleration. Alright, this thing is just obscenely slow. No surprise at all with 128 megs of RAM. I should have created a swap file on that hard drive, but even that task is gonna be impossible now. I'm gonna have to move on. Well, let's test the floppy drive. Sounds like it's working. And yep, made it to DOS. Let's just make sure it writes. And it writes. Alright, let's give it its face back. Okay, well this thing actually turned out really well. I have absolute confidence that everything on the motherboard works fine. The hard drive made a miraculous recovery. All of the disk drives work. Yeah, this system's going to be just fine once an OS is installed on it. Let's move on to the next system. Alright, next system is this HP Pavilion 360N. This is HP's take on the bubble trend. Got a CD burner up here, a DVD-ROM down here, and a faceplate molded floppy drive. And we've got a little cover down here. Flips up to reveal some USB ports and, interestingly enough, a serial port. And you can see we're badged for Windows XP. And not to be outdone by Compaq, this case also has some integrated CD storage. Right in the top here. Even still has a little fake paper HP CD in there. Someone kept it in there all these years. Got an XP Home Edition COA sticker there. The system also has a very similar stance to the Compaq. See, it just ever so slightly leans to the rear. All of the rubber feet are still present, so that's definitely how it's intended to sit. And this system has everything on board, including a NIC. Got a dial-up modem as our lone peripheral card. I'm very curious to know what this extra audio jack is about. I haven't had time to hunt down a manual for this thing. I guess we'll see. And now you can see our first problem with this machine. It's missing one of the side panels, unfortunately. It's also missing the hard drive. But we can see both those optical drives are still present. Wow, this system is incredibly dusty. Got a big old clump of dust bunny here. Let's go ahead and get these cables out of here and get everything disconnected. Whoa, what is that? Now that's interesting. Looks like the VRM is on a separate riser board. Yeah, it looks like it's soldered on. Let's disconnect that power supply. That's odd. Never seen that connector before. At least not on a power supply. Sure looks like a fan connector. That's very odd. Wonder if this system is capable of varying the speed of the power supply fan. Not a whole lot of clearance between those drives and the power supply. Seems like they were doing everything they could to make this thing compact. Alright, let's see what kind of CPU we have. And that thing is stuck to the CPU. When thermal compound gets old enough, it just becomes thermal glue. Yeah, that is perished. Oh, it's an AMD CPU. Looks like an AMD Athlon. Let's get that out of there. And yep, definitely an Athlon. Not many other things it could be. The AMD Athlon happens to be the very first CPU that I ever bought brand new. And all of our pins are good. Let's clean this thing up. And it's an AX1900D MT3C. These run at a default clock speed of 1.6 GHz. This should have 256K of L2 cache, and I believe a bus speed of 266 MHz. I used to be a bit of an AMD fanboy back in the day. The CPU I had was an Athlon XP 1800. Okay, so that extra audio jack actually runs to the speaker port on the motherboard. I'm still not sure why though. And judging by the presence of that TDA 1517 chip, I guess that jack provides amplified audio. Well, let's check out our only peripheral card. Wow, that thing's in there. There we go. Alright, it's got an A-gear chipset, most likely 56K. And absolutely filthy. And what on earth is that connector? This motherboard's getting weird. Looks almost like an AGP slot. Well, it must connect to some kind of riser, right? I don't even have enough time to look it up. Wow, is this thing ever so filthy. I feel bad for these people's lungs. Alright, let's see what we got for RAM. And we got a good old RAM manufacturer guessing game. No clues to size or speed. Why do RAM manufacturers do that? I'll just have to see what it counts up to. Alright, let's get this drive cage out of here. It looks simple enough. Oh, that is clever. It just swings out on this little track here. I just love stuff like that. Alright, let's get this motherboard disconnected and out of this filthy case. Alright, I am very pleased to see we have mostly Rubicon caps on this board. Don't think we're going to have any capacitor plague problems. Good job, Asus. Let's clean this poor thing up. Aha, that extra power supply lead is a fan control. So this system must be in control of the power supply fan speed. Interesting. So I partially traced out that weird edge connector and it looks like it must be some kind of PCI riser. This is a cool little board. Who knew we would find such quality in a very unassuming looking HP system? Got some solid packed dust in that CPU cooler. Pretty nasty. Alright, that's clean enough. I just love how the CPU printing got transferred into that perished thermal compound. Let's clean it up. There we go. Wow, that fan bearing sounds pretty gross. Let's see if the oil trick can help it. And you know the drill. Cut into the label, then get some oil in the bearing, and then run it so that it works in, and wipe up the excess with IPA, then seal it up with good old Captain tape. Let's trim that up. Well, at least sounds a little better. Got a Panasonic floppy drive with a very thick carpet of dust. Let's wipe that off. And the inside is exactly what you'd expect. Absolutely filthy. Let's clean that out. Alright, got everything cleaned and greased. Let's hope this thing works. And clearances are so tight in this case I have to remove the optical drives before I can remove the power supply. So let's figure out how that's done. Obviously the faceplate has to come off. Looks like there's 6 plastic clips holding that faceplate on. So let's see if that's enough to get rid of it. Ah, there we go. Well, unfortunately one of the clips broke. Okay, well that clip is nowhere to be found, so most likely that was already broken. Oh well, it seemed sturdy enough without it. Alright, now we get our first look at those optical drives. Both of them look to be original. And here's the CD burner label. It's on the bottom of the drive, so not covered in dust. You can see it is an HP drive manufactured by Mitsumi, manufactured December 2001. Yeah, we got the DVD master here. This drive's manufactured by Samsung, and was also manufactured December 2001. Hey, we got twins here. And as expected, that power supply is a total mess, so let's take it apart and clean it up. Consider this guarantee officially void. Wow, that thing is compact. I don't even know how I'm going to clean it. And I see more than a few bulging capacitors. We might have to skip this one, but I'm going to go ahead and clean it out anyway. Let's at least get this cover out of here. Yeah, this power supply doesn't seem trustworthy at all, but I'm still going to test it. Never one to pass up an opportunity to see a power supply explode. Alright, have the sacrificial hard drives met their match? Let's see. Well, that fan's not having a good time. I wonder if that's just because it's not connected to the motherboard. Doesn't seem like it's trying very hard. That bearing's very sticky. Yeah, it looks like it's trying to turn, just can't. Alright, I guess we won't be testing the system with this power supply. Yeah, I'm just going to test this system with a regular old ATX power supply, and I'll dive into this one if I ever get some of that free time I've heard so much about. Alright, things are cleaning up reasonably well. Got the case all de-dusted too. Alright, the needful is done. Fresh thermal paste, fresh battery. Got everything reinstalled except the power supply. Let's see what this thing does. Oh, it's angry. Let's try cleaning up the edge connector on that RAM stick. Alright, let's try this again. Nope. Okay, well I changed nothing and just power cycled it, and all of a sudden we're posting. Hey, I'll take it. Alright, got a seek on the floppy drive. Obviously we have nothing to boot from, but it's weird we just get a blinking cursor. Let's get a DOS boot disk in there. Try rebooting. And we still get that same blinking cursor. Alright, time to dig a little deeper. Okay, well I take that back. Apparently all I needed was a little deoxit. Alright, and it sees both optical drives. Speaking of which, let's see if they open. Alright, they open right up. How about the DVD drive? Yes indeed. And that one's a little dusty. Okay, I guess I'll start testing with that one. Okay, sounds like it might have spun up. Let's see, that one's probably S drive. And yes indeed it works. Alright. Okay, let's try the CD burner. Sure doesn't seem happy. Let's see. And that's a no. At least with a CDR. Let's try a regular CD. Retry. Okay, well, it reads a regular CD. That seems to be becoming a common theme. CD burners reading regular CDs but not reading CDRs. Now, a couple commenters suggested that it might be resolvable by adjusting the voltage to the laser diode. That's definitely something we'll explore in a future video, as I definitely don't have time this week for it. Anyway, let's see if we can boot Knoppix with the DVD drive. Oh, looks like it. Let's see. Well, clearly we're not getting in the graphical environment. Let's try a more age-appropriate version of Knoppix. Boot. Okay, we did get the startup sound, but it was very faint. I don't think the microphone picked it up, so at least we confirmed the sound card works. Alright, we've made it to KDE. Let's see what all PCI devices we have. Alright, everything we expect is there. There's not much else we can test on this. I don't think this thing has any kind of 3D acceleration. Let's see. And nope. You can always tell when it's not actually using direct rendering because you get these weird, wacky FPS numbers. And of course it also tells you here, the direct rendering interface extension is missing. Well, wasn't expecting that anyway. Alright, let's kill that. Alright, let's shut this thing down. Okay, that sound output must be line level because I got my speakers turned all the way up. Should have plugged it into that amplified port. Alright, let's give it its face back. Can't forget the most important part. Well, partial success on this system. I'm definitely going to be diving deeper into that power supply because it is certainly salvageable, and I have no other power supplies in that form factor, so it's currently my only option for this system. But hey, everything else seems to work, save for a slightly stubborn CD burner. Let's move on to the next system. Alright, next system is an HP Pavilion A200N. This is kind of like an evolution of that same design philosophy. Got a CD burner up here, and I'm guessing this bay is empty, since it's not marked. Yep, very empty. And this panel here slides down, makes a terrible noise, and conceals a floppy drive, another 3.5-inch drive bay, and 2 USB ports. Wow, they were sure proud of this thing. So boastful. See, we got a 2.4 GHz Intel Celeron, got a massive 40 gig hard drive, and this thing can write and rewrite CDs, and it can even play CDs, in case you were wondering. Designed for Windows XP. Wow, no dial-up modem. That's definitely a flex for the era. And here's a close look at that label. Alright, let's open it up. Ah, somebody stripped the hard drive out. Let's get that out of there. But hey, at least we're fairly clean in here. The thing is just about immaculate compared to some of these systems. Let's clear these cables out of here. Well, let's get a look at that Celeron. Wow, I'm surprised those didn't break. See, we're probably stuck to the CPU. Oh, not even a little. And actually, that thermal compound looks somewhat decent. Let's clean that up so we can read it. Now, let's pull that out of there. And yup, it's a Celeron. With all pins looking good. Let's just put that back in there. Alright, let's see what we got for RAM. Got a 256 meg stick of DDR1, 266 megahertz, and remarkably clean compared to the systems we've been looking at. And this motherboard's definitely built down to a price. Alright, let's liberate that floppy drive. Seems simple enough. Yeah, there we go. And CD-ROM removal is going to require faceplate removal. Luckily, they were thoughtful enough to give us instructions, and they're all helpfully labeled. Alright, I guess we start here. Okay, I guess that's unlocked. Now let's get at these clips. Hey, that was pretty easy. Hey, that thing's actually kind of clean. Imagine that. Now, it looks like we just pull this tab and we should be able to slide that drive out. Yep, look how convenient that is. And that CD burner is manufactured by HL Data Storage, which is a joint venture between Hitachi and Lite-On. Manufactured April 2003. And even though that floppy drive is branded Tri-Gem, it's actually made by Samsung. Let's clean it off. Wow, that could be the cleanest floppy drive I've featured yet on this channel. I'm still going to clean the heads though. Yeah, that probably wasn't even necessary. Alright, there's nothing special about this power supply at all, so let's just send it. Here we go. Alright, doing fine. Yeah, no trouble out of that thing at all. Well, they used one of my favorite types of battery sockets, but they sure put it in an awkward spot. Alright, this faceplate was actually pretty clean to start with. I just gave it a little once over with the magic eraser, and I also greased up this slider so it no longer makes that horrible sound. Alright, we are ready to test this thing in record time. Let's see what it does. And we already got a floppy seek. And of course got a CMOS error. That old battery was completely dead. Well, let's see if it boosts to DOS. And yes, it does. Alright, let's try that CD drive. A little bit dusty. Okay, I think it spun up. Let's see. And yes, indeed. Alright, that thing works. So we should have no trouble booting Knoppix. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. Alright, made it to the graphical environment. Let's open up Terminal. Let's see if we get direct rendering on this thing. And yes, we do. Back in the day, Intel GPUs were the best supported on Linux. NVIDIA was pretty good too, but you still had to play with the driver a little bit sometimes. Alright, let's kill that. Alright, let's see what we have in here. And yeah, we got everything we should have. I didn't hear the startup sound. Let's see if the sound device initialized. Oh, that's why. It's turned all the way down. Let's see if we have sound now.
Initiating startup sequence.
There we go. Alright, that's all I wanted. Let's shut this thing down. Alright, let's face it. Well, this thing is right back on its feet, and it took surprisingly little work. See, that's what happens when you take care of your systems. 20 years later, still ready to run. Well, unfortunately I had to keep this video kind of short, but I do just quickly want to take you through these other two bubbly Compaqs that I have. Now these systems are actually higher spec versions than the system I showed in this video. Both of them are unfortunately missing the CD storage, and this one has some particularly boastful stickers. It's also advertising some AOL services. You can see they both have AMD Athlon processors, and they both have AGP graphics. I haven't cracked these open yet, so I don't know if any of that is actually true. Both of these cases have that gray Q button looking thing. I couldn't bring myself to pull that off of one of these. I'd much rather try to find the parts to make all of these systems whole. I see this one has a sound card, overriding the onboard sound. I wonder what that could be. And we've got a Wi-Fi card here, with a broken antenna port. Alright, as much as I want to tear both of these apart right now, that's going to have to happen in a future video. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and an especially huge thanks to everyone who's pledged their support on Patreon and keeping this show going. And if you're new to the channel and you like this kind of thing, I actually have quite a few of these videos now, so be sure to check those out. And I've also got a lot more coming, so be sure to subscribe. But that's all for this video. Thanks for watching.